Here today, aLive versus soO, a best of 5 TVZ to finish off WardiTV Weekly number 2. This should be great. This should be really great. You know what I haven't done? I haven't updated the title of the stream, have I? No, I haven't. It's soO versus aLive, not soO versus soO anymore. Sorry, just got caught up a little bit during the break. Started eating a bag of crisps. I have to go to the toilet. I just did everything during that break. I lived the life. Went to the toilet, had a bag of crisps, and came back completely unprepared because the music just ended. I was like, oh, maybe I should put the game on then. And so we did. Anyways, let's see what's going to happen as we kick off into game number 1 of this best of 5. To the bottom left-hand side of the map, our teal Terran player. Someone who's been impressing us more and more, impressing me more and more lately. I think since Home Story Cup, actually, I realized this guy is like way better than I thought he was. So, kind of excited to see him continue to compete online, continue to do so well, taking down Bjorn in the semi-finals. It's our teal Terran player, aLive. Oops. Now, he did take down Impact 2-1 in the quarterfinals as well. In general, it's been a pretty decent run through the bracket for him here today so far. So it's been a decent run from aLive. And, yeah, it has. It's just been solid stuff from him. He also took down, just trying to get it up, he actually had a sick run. Before Impact, he took down Bunny 2-0, that's the Korean Bunny. And before that, he took down Hades 2-0 as well, who's a Ukrainian Terran player too. On the other side of the bracket, soO took down Solar in the semi-finals. That was the first we saw of him today. He also took down True 2-0, Seed 2-0, and Justice Siam 2-0 as well. So, it's been an interesting day for both of them. soO is, of course, the red Zerg to the bottom right-hand side of Whirlwind. Opening pool, hatch, pool. Pool, hatch, pool, hatch, pool, hatch. Sorry. Pool, hatch, pool. Can you imagine pool, hatch, pool? What a build order that would be. Can you imagine double pool, like, start the game, and it's like, but I thought this was just the way you start to get towards a 6 pool. A classic StarCraft joke. Right there. Drone moving around here from soO, going to pop down the extractor to stay alive. Another grenade. Drone taking a little bit more damage here. And again, it's actually nice replacement so far. Just allow a little bit of, well, just to kind of do a bit of damage to those early drones, basically. So as we set up into this kind of macro-based play, we do see actually Zerg getting across the map and does delay the CC building. Just as we have a kind of a passive start, though, I'd like to remind you guys, if you do want to support these 2 players, then donating to the Match Arena page will support these players. They will take a cut of the prize money. So if you want to support these players, Match Arena, ! Match Arena in the chat will give you the link. You can add some money, and it will, of course, support either aLive, or, well, it will support both aLive and soO. Depending on who wins, they will get a higher percentage of it. As we also, of course, if you enjoy the stream, urge you to hit the follow button, see when we go live again in the future. If you're really enjoying the stream, don't forget you can subscribe to the channel, you can donate directly, you can cheer in the chat. There's a Patreon page as well, all of which you can use to support here if you would like to continue supporting, I guess. If you would like to kind of support the tournament further and support the organisers, me, and just want to help us keep on running these events and bringing you guys this sort of broadcast sort of stuff. So yeah, tomorrow we're going to be live in the EU evening time, so it's going to be no daytime cast from us tomorrow. The Limo League will be on for you guys to watch, however, from BaseTradeTV, from Limo League, sorry, not from BaseTradeTV, it'll be cast by BaseTradeTV. That'll be through the day tomorrow. We'll be live in the evening with some WardiTV Team League action, so that'll be a couple of matches that we didn't get to cast last night going to be happening tomorrow night, so that'll be happening. See a couple of queens here, fighting a few of these Hellions. You see one queen picking off a Hellion right there, so one Hellion falls. Just going to be seeing this medevac units just moving around from aLive. So medevac units from aLive moving around here. Running speed just over halfway done, about 75% of the way done. There's Liberator again just over halfway right now. Is aLive actually going to be playing mech? Double factory is up. He's actually going to make 4 more Hellions, which is kind of crazy because usually we see double reactor as a way to utilize kind of some cyclones early on. But he's actually going to make a lot more Hellions as this Hellbat attack coming in at the front. soO doesn't really have anything to back this up just yet. He's actually heavily supply blocked. 7 Overlords on the way. Well, that is a big issue for him. That's not the sort of position he really wants to be in right now. He's going to be seeing a couple of Marines working their way through that Overlord. Starting to do a little bit of damage. And we're seeing the Queen still just sat at the front. I mean, in the end, aLive doesn't really get much done, which I feel is a shame because honestly, he had so much potential with how little soO had. soO had really kind of nothing here for quite some time. These things run to the center. You can see these lings on their own don't last 2 seconds. I mean, these are this is only 3 of the 5 Hellbats that were here moments ago, without the medevac as well for healing, and none of them go down. A couple of Marines do. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. Anyway, as we see now 4 Cyclones on the way, I mean, aLive as well and truly committed into this mech-based playstyle. Another depot going to be coming up here in the wall. As a couple of those Hellbats drop on down, we're going to be seeing this Queen taking a little bit more damage. It's a little bit more damage being done. We're going to be seeing those drones and lings from soO pulling around. He's again just working his way through the Hellbats, so Hellbats taking a little bit more damage, and it does end up going down here. As we see, well, that little bit Rad didn't do a lot, but this next attack might do a little bit more here from aLive. Currently up by 20 army supply, and soO just still droning. It's kind of crazy, like aLive actually just stopped making SCVs like a while ago. 36 workers, he hasn't made any more since. And now he's going for a big Hellbat site. I just don't think soO defends this. Like, really? Like, what does he do to defend this? His lings go down instantly, the Cyclones will have so much damage, the Queens will have to transfuse like crazy here. Let's split up his units a little bit, which might be a bit risky. I mean, the Cyclone's just going to do so much. More lings on the way aren't going to matter because the Hellbats will just get rid of them so easily as well. Some Hellions run by towards the 3rd base, which will do some damage as well. In the meanwhile, while basically the rest of the army pushes up this ramp into the main, and Queens will keep on dropping. There's those drones starting to be massacred at the 3rd. Actually, the Queen's doing some damage there. So actually, the Hellbat's going to go down. There's some lings popping out. Again, splitting up the units might not have been the best choice in this scenario, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to work out no matter what. As we just see, well, Hellbats and Cyclones still on the main base. I mean, what do you do when you can only make Zerglings and you just haven't realized what this composition is going to be? You can see a few more Zerglings going down right now, and Queens as well continue to drop, and drones trying to pull back on in. So they're going to pull back on in, but that's going to be a bit of a massacre if they're not careful. He doesn't want to lose too many of those here. There's more Hellbats towards the 3rd base. This time he will get damage done as he takes down the Queens. Has a medevac here to help out healing as well, to drop those Hellbats back on top. That Cyclone goes down. I mean, that's something at least. Now it's only Hellions, but well, only Hellions can be also problematic because, oh, the drones are lined up. No, why didn't you chase aLive, please? You were meant to chase. You were meant to go and kill all of them. Liberator here in the natural expansion too, and soO is really starting to take way too much damage. aLive will take game number 1 with some aggressive mech-based play. GG's. He takes the first game of generally surviving to be able to be full-time. If you want to support the players in the prize pool, you can donate to the Matcherino page. If you can't donate through Matcherino, and you really, really want to support the prize pool, and you can't donate through Matcherino, then you can hit me up. Send me a message or something, and if you really want to, you can find a way to send me the money and I would add it to the prize pool. Although it wouldn't be this week, it'd be for next week because I just can't. So yeah. Anyways, let's kick this off into game number 2. We do have to the top right-hand side of the map our blue Zerg player down a game here after game number 1. Let's see what's going to happen. Our blue Zerg is soO. Into the top left-hand side, our red Terran player. Going to be aLive, who's up by 1. Again, it's nice to see Terran players bringing in interesting builds and different builds to keep Zerg players on the edge. And it's sort of one of the advantages Terrans will always have over Zerg players in TVZ. The fact that if they can be unpredictable and do different builds, then the Zerg sometimes can just be caught off guard out of nowhere. Now, soO is not exactly the player who will always play macros. soO is a player who's not afraid of throwing in maybe a big roach all in perhaps, or something like this or that. You know, those sort of things. And so I think we've got to keep in mind here the possibility of soO maybe throwing in an all-in, especially on a map such as Habitation Station. Get some roaches out early, get across the map quickly, could do something. Maybe a Ling Bane burst. I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities, so a lot of different possibilities right now for soO. If he does want to be aggressive, I mean, he doesn't have to be aggressive. That's something which is not necessarily going to be the case here. As we're just going to be seeing the overlord from soO just still moving overhead and having a little bit of a look to see what is going on. We see the reactor building actually at the front here on this barracks. Factory building as well. So it's again going to be a factory-based opening. However, this time the factory builds over to the left-hand side. It's not going to be building here at the front, next to the barracks, so it's not going to swap onto that reactor. So the factory more so looking towards like a Widow Mine drop, maybe into a siege tank or so, maybe just an early cycle under pressure with, but not reacted out. I mean, there's still a few different possibilities here as to what this could be. It's just not going to be Hellions, most likely. Let's follow this first Reaper as it comes across to the upper right-hand side, see if we can get any damage done. Feels though aLive was quite good with his Reaper in the first game. Didn't really do much damage, but he kind of, kept it around and poked in. It was annoying. That's, against someone like soO, that's what you've got to be hoping for. And there is soO going into that crazy sort of, crazy kind of aggressive play, something different here. Very fast lair coming down from soO right now. So he begins to set up into this lair very early on. And that's going to allow him to go into one or two things. It's going to be either the Nidus network and a Roach all in, or it's going to be the very fast Spire to be 2 base Mutalisk. Either or. Now, 2 base Mutalisk is looking a little bit more likely right now. Triple gas taken, and obviously no sign of a Roach Roaring is a pretty good, big indicator of that as well. So Spire about to finish up. I mean, even if it was a Nidus, would have to kind of start the Nidus like right now, or the Roach Roaring right now if you wanted to Nidus it with a Roach Roaring. Could Nidus with, say, something crazy like a just a Lane Flood, Lane Queen, but that's generally not as effective and isn't used often for a reason. So there's the Spire coming down, kind of what we expected based on the kind of gas timings. Going up to the 4th gas now as well, and soO will just open up into some very early Mutalisks to apply pressure to aLive in the early stages. Now, it's one of these builds which I always feel can backfire quite quickly if you're not careful. Your opponent hits an aggressive timing while you're trying to take up into Mutalisks. GG, that sort of stuff. There's a lot of different openings and timings and possibilities which can become quite kind of bad for you quite quickly if you're not careful. And you're going to see this command center coming down from aLive as well, just in the natural expansion. I'm going to be seeing this Liberator popping out from aLive and just going to start moving down the left-hand side of the map. So that's going to be moving down the left-hand side. You're going to be seeing this Viking from aLive moving up through the top and just again applying pressure, cleaning out Overlords. Are going to look to try and siege up a base. I mean, the Mutalisks are going to be very good at dealing with that early Liberator, for example, right? But the problem is that after the dealing with the early Liberator, then they're going to be revealed, and so turrets are going to be up. So how much more can they get done? Is it going to be enough to have been worthwhile committing into? Well, that's obviously one of the questions that's difficult to judge. Liberator going to come up this right-hand side then, and we're going to see 8 of these Mutalisks currently on the way out from soO. Baneling's dropping down Evolution Chamber as well, just continuing to build into everything he might need for the rest of his mid-game, some upgrades. The Baneling's obviously going to be very important as well, will help a lot in terms of turning away early attacks. But I do like aLive's position. I mean, we're talking about him already having a 3rd CC finishing. He's starting to build turrets in good positions as well to minimize the damage that these Mutalisks are going to do. He's got a Viking and some Marines, which are actually surprisingly effective despite the low numbers against these Mutas. Viking especially is something which I don't think a lot of people really give credit for as to how good they can be against Mutas in the very early stages when they can kite backwards quite easily and all the rest. So it's kind of an interesting one to begin with, as we're going to be seeing those Mutas coming in. We're going to start working their way through this Engineering Bay on the natural expansion. First Engineering Bay starting to take just a little bit of damage here, so we're seeing Stimpack and 1-1 on the way up currently from aLive, and we're seeing more and more drones on the way out as well. Bane and Speed is on the way up from soO. And again, the Mutas for now doing what they need to do, which is just keeping aLive at home. But how long will it keep aLive at home for? Will it keep aLive at home once Stims is finished? Once +1/+1 is finished? We shall find out. We see the +1 melee upgrade starting up now from soO as well. He's added on that 2nd Evo chamber. So his own upgrades, not really too... yeah, I guess they're quite far behind the Terran players. I didn't realize the Terran players' upgrades were about to finish up, actually. And this is the thing with kind of 2 base Muta. It does put you a bit behind in terms of upgrades. It's one of the things you sacrifice to get the earlier lair, etc. And aside of the earlier... aside of the early lair and stuff, it's... yeah, it's also about a build. Like, your eco will hurt a little bit too, but not too much. It's mostly the upgrades that really suffer from this. So, see this Liberator's coming through the top side of the map, and having a look to see where it can go. Looks as though it'll come across here. It's actually already been across the map, looking as though it wants to get back home, get safe from the Mutas. Picked up a few kills that we missed, so apologies for that, but nothing too substantial. soO I kind of like this as to getting into like a Ling Bane Muta game, going in towards the mid game of it as well now in a pretty decent position. I feel this is where kind of soO is going to really begin to, you know, take advantages, you know? Take advantages, push ahead, really put himself into the forefront of this and kind of say like, hey, I am, you know, I'm really kind of a good player when it comes to Ling Bane Muta. You know, this is my sort of game, this is me and my element. So I'm very happy to take a fight on this, you know, in this map and in this sort of composition. So I feel as though it's going to go well for soO. We're going to be seeing his Bane starting to morph on in. 1-1 finish for the Terran. No fat shield just yet. 3 Vikings to help against the Mutas. Obviously, as the kind of Muta count increases a bit, the Vikings don't really have much of a value compared to what they had earlier. They make off an Overlord though. I mean, it's still a nice little addition compared to, well, you know, it's still something as we're going to be seeing. Oh, the Bane is starting to move on through. Starting to connect on a few of those Marines in the back. And we have quite a good couple of connections there. Now the Mutas are given chase. You're going to see the Medivacs trying to fly away, but honestly, the Ling's already going to get in position to shut down the Marines from dropping down. We see Mutas, full Medivacs kind of going down right here. We're going to be seeing actually the full Medivacs don't go down. The empty Medivacs went down. The full Medivacs are still being chased away. soO is just going to keep on diving on top of this. Another couple of Medivacs will fall. He's actually going to keep on targeting down the Marines right here because he realizes without Marines, there isn't a way for his opponent to stay in this game. And the Muta count is just so high. And soO, I mean, we're just talking about this as the sort of game he likes to play. And then the first possible opportunity of taking a fight, he absolutely crushes it. I mean, aLive just loses too much across the map, and then suddenly he's going to be just unable to stabilize on his own side of the map. A couple of Widow Mines will burrow, and I mean, Marines pushing forwards, but the Marine count just wasn't even good enough to deal with the Mutas a few moments ago, so that was kind of detrimental. Now he is going to hit 2-2. That will help aLive to stay in the game. However, it might just be too late. Again, we said this earlier about upgrades, like, you can be ahead on upgrades all you like. If you just don't have enough units, it just won't matter. I mean, what does it matter if these Marines have 2-2 if the Lings are getting full surrounds and outnumbering them like 3-1 or something? Muta's in here as well, helping out with the damage. I mean, the Widow Mines actually turned out to be pretty okay, but the Raymans come in, they crash in, and they clean up a lot of those. And again, I mean, soO may not be trading the best right now. Maybe he could trade a bit better and a bit more carefully, but the reality is he can keep doing this. He can keep on picking off Marines and whatever else. So picking off a couple more Marines here, this bunker goes down, and that's going to be GG. aLive will type out, allowing soO to take the second game, take the lead and go on to match point in this best of 5 final here today. Now playing for $126, split 75-25, so that's what about a... It's about a, I can't do math anymore. I really can't do math nowadays. It's kind of sad. It's like 31, it's like 31.93 or something, like 93.31. Does that add up 124? Yeah, it's about there. So 31.93, $93 for first place, $31 for second. Let's see who's going to take the lead to the bottom right hand side. The blue Zerg play with 2 base Muta to take him into victory in game number 1. Game number 2, sorry, it was soO. Looking good as well, and I mean, it wasn't necessarily the 2 base Muta, it just gave him a way to get into Ling Bane Muta into the mid game, and from there, he just crushed it, and looked unstoppable. 1 fight, and that was that. And we have to the bottom left hand side, the red Terran player. It's going to be aLive. Going to be seeing the free rack sweeper play here from aLive here on Newkirk Precinct. Not a very standard map to do this on. I don't really like it. I mean, free rack sweeper can be very good if you micro perfectly on any map. But you really have to be able to micro perfectly here on Newkirk because there's no second chances, you know. I mean, there's a couple of ledges around the natural expansion here. You know, like around here and around up there. Those ledges will help you out a lot. I see grenade coming down, and some drones just going to get busted away from the left-hand side of the base. So, going to be getting those boosters away. We're going to see those couple of Reapers just coming in towards the natural expansion. We're going to see those couple of Lings moving forwards. We're going to be seeing the couple of Lings going down. Drone taking some damage as well. And just going to be seeing the Queen just pushing back those Reapers. So. I mean, soO's going to start realizing this right now with the multiple Reapers here, so his response, just Mass Ling. Honestly, if you can micro the Mass Ling well, it's the best response, I feel, because you don't have to waste time going into Roaches. And really, on this map, again, like, the Reapers are going to be out in the open. Like, there's nowhere for them to jump up to hide away. Like, they can jump up here, but you get there so quick. Like, there's nowhere for them to get away quickly, right? So, the Lings alone can be more than enough to kind of deal with this. You don't necessarily need the Roaches, which became the kind of the norm in terms of defending this sort of attack. So you definitely don't need that, as we're going to be seeing already. Reactor Tech Lab on the way down, aLive beginning his transition out of this. Another Reaper on the way up as well. These Lings actually going to catch one Reaper mid-map already. So one Reaper already goes down, another Reaper taking some more damage there, getting very low. And there's some Reapers from aLive coming across too to see what else he can get up to. And he's taking some soO, going to come up to the top side and look to see where else they can go. Evo Chamber coming down from soO as well in the natural expansion. Just getting set up into his first upgrade here early on. Stimpak is going to be on the way. And we see the factory on the way up from aLive. I mean, he's just starting to transition in towards the next stage of the game. Interesting, right? I mean, he's used the early Reapers to kind of apply pressure. The problem is, he really didn't apply that much pressure, I would say, you know? I feel as though soO made the right number of units to defend against this and didn't overcommit at all. I mean, he's still 10 workers ahead. Usually with 3 reactors, but you try and get into a position where you're going into maybe 1 or 2 workers behind as you set up into your latest natural and third base. But that's just not happened here, and soO will continue to just sort of drone freely now because these Reapers aren't going to be much of an issue. He doesn't have to worry about making units until the big attack comes in, which is probably not going to be soon. I mean, Stim's halfway done, but in a minute's time when Stim's done, medevacs are just going to be starting, or they're going to be, well, about maybe 10-20 seconds along. 10 seconds along, maybe. I mean, they'll be on their way out, right? But they're not going to be here for another, well, from now, about another minute or so. So soO has a whole minute until he needs enough units to defend this first push from the Terran player. So he's got plenty of time to prepare, and aLive, well, we'll see what he can do with the push when it does come in. But I do feel as though soO's just already got so many drones, such a great economy. That'll be difficult for aLive to really bounce his way back into this. Now we see +1 Carapace is on the way up for soO already, just over halfway done. The Lair on the way is on the way up here as well. The Beaming Nest also coming down. I mean, just a very standard set of structures and upgrades. A very standard looking production tab, I guess we could say. Just for going in towards the Lingbane Muta mid game. May not play Mutalisk, may decide to play in towards a fast infestation pit, may just play Lingbane. May play for later Spire and into Corruptors instead of Mutalisks. I mean, there's a few different possibilities here, definitely for soO, as to what he could get done. Speed grenades come down, going to pick off that creep teammate here right away. And we'll just back away through the center of the map once again. Thank you very much, Elder Balam, for the 2-month resub. 2 months and going strong, he says in the chat. Well, thank you so much for the 2-month resub. Welcome back for the 2nd month with us on the channel. Do appreciate it. And let's see those SJ hearts in the chat, please, for our 2-month resub. Lots of resubs today, guys. Thank you very much. And as we do see aLive start to push out onto the map. Moving through the center here. Again, some creep out the front. Looking to keep on spreading forwards. That's obviously one of the things which aLive will hope to push back quite heavily right now. As we're going to be seeing the a few Banes on the way up here. No Bane speed just yet, so we'll just be kind of slow Banes of Blings. Trying to defend this. A few grenades going down, missing for now. And as you can see, seeing these Queens coming forwards as well to help out. A couple of grenades do go off. Most Reapers getting cleaned out though, as here we go. I mean, Bane's on creep still, despite the lack of Bane speed. We'll still kind of catch up with those Blings. I mean, the medevacs are looking to probably try and lift up here shortly, but if they lift up, well then, we actually see the Banes get targeted down. The Lings will surround, but there's not enough of them. And so the Marines do end up winning out. aLive. Good choices there actually in the end. Makes it off of creep, then turns and targets down each of the Banes when they're off creep and moving just that little bit slower. And that definitely does help him out. As you're going to be seeing the Spire finishing up here momentarily from soO. Some Marines dropping up in towards the main base right now. As here he goes, stemming forward. We're going to see a Queen. Ooh, gets taken down. Linger's coming in and just going to be seeing the 2 medevacs pushed away from the main base. A couple more Zerglings getting cleaned out as well then right there. So they get killed off as well, and there's a few more units dropping off to the top side. A few more Marines over to mine as well. I'm just going to be seeing the units coming forwards here. Wouldn't mind actually nearly going off. This in the end just goes off on one Zerg. Could have been so much worse. I saw it going in towards the center of those units. I was like, ah! Didn't happen though. As we see Mutals now hitting the map. The Spire coming up behind all of this. And soO has indeed gone for the Mutalisk. So Lingbane Muta once again from him. Now Terran player with a 3rd base morphing into an orbital in location now. So you're going to take his 4th base up top rather than down to the south. Interesting choice. I mean, it's still kind of an easy position for the Terran to push into. It's just a little bit less direct than the south side. It's an interesting decision to take the 4th instead of the south. to the north instead of the south, though. It's exactly that, interesting. Not wrong, not the best, I don't think, necessarily. Just different and interesting. Anyways, Mutas are chasing forwards. Widowmine connection is huge onto the Zerglings. Suddenly, there was a lot of blood and carcasses on the ground, and one might have thought that originally there was some Zerglings there, but they got destroyed. 18 kills on one Widowmine, the south one got 11. 29 Lings going down so quickly as... Oh no, the third base falls! Same time though, a big drop across the map. So, I mean, losing the third base, you have to start doing some major damage here, aLive, otherwise you're in trouble. That third CC should not have fallen. No repair in time, and that's a big, big mistake. I mean, he lifted it up in plenty of time, but the Mutas targeted it down. And it should have just been repaired a little bit sooner, or something should have come forwards to push those Mutas away. It's a big mistake, as you're going to see the Mutas coming in, trying to deny this drop, pick it off. And you pick this drop off now, and all of a sudden the Terran player has absolutely no map control left. And suddenly the Zerg is running wild on 4 bases, while the Terran is, well, trying to re-establish a third base, I guess. He actually hasn't started to rebuild it yet. Still lost his spawning pool, has rebuilt that now. He's about to finish up so he can go back into Zergling production. Doesn't really hurt him too much here, because honestly, aLive didn't really take it, hasn't had the chance to take advantage of the fact the spawning pool has been dead, so. We've seen these Marines and Widowmines moving forward through the center once again here. Lings, Banes, and Middle Earth all gathering together up to the top 4th base, which is starting to saturate just a little bit here. Only 60 drones, not too many. And you see he's been trading out quite a lot, so he hasn't built up kind of a mega economy or anything. He's preparing right now for what's kind of an all-in attack anyways because of the lack of a third of his opponents, so, only 60 drones is completely fine. As you see aLive, well, he's going to start splitting away, but let's be realistic. The Mutas take down every single medevac. The Lings and Banes just crashed on into the entire army. And so soO takes game number 3 just like that. And let's introduce a couple players to see how this is going to go. This could be our last game of the day. I was talking about maybe casting some of the replays from earlier in the tournament, from matches that we didn't get to broadcast on stream. Taking some of the replays from Crank and Pommy, who've also been casting today in Korean and Russian respectively. We're not going to cast those today, but I will take the replays, probably cast them another day. But today I'm going to have to go home and eat, I think, because I haven't actually eaten yet today since I woke up, and it's been quite a long cast. 5 hours in? It's not been that bad, but I think it's time for me to go home and eat and recover a little bit rather than continuing to go for a mega cast. But that said, it will be cast another day. I mean, it's nice to keep the replays actually because we're kind of struggling for content this week a little bit, so if we can take a few days where, if we have a day where we can fill in a little bit of time with some of those replays, it could be pretty neat. And it could be, actually could be a nice way to go. Anyways, we start on up aLive. Is down to the bottom right-hand side, the blue Terran player. His opponent soO, the red Zerg, to the top left. Just sending overloads across the map now. Just hatch gas pool right now early on, no surprise there. And aLive, backing away from those aggressive free-rock sweeper builds. And now going in towards the, into an expansion-based build. Whether it's going to be 2-1-1 or factory-based, we are yet to see. This command center will come down in just a couple of moments. And that's when we're going to see kind of what's going on here. It looks as though it's going to be a 2-1-1. If you go kind of for a factory-based build, generally a gas first and Reaper Expand is a little bit stronger. And a little bit better. And there's the barracks coming down indeed. So it is a 2-1-1 here from aLive to try and keep him in this series. First time we're going to see this. And this is nice. Again, he's doing different builds every game, more or less. Free Reactor Reaper one game. First game, he went for the for that Hellion Cyclone build. Second game, he went kind of Rax Factory Starport and just applied some pressure in a few different ways. It's been different every game, and again, it's nice. It's one of the things Terrans always seem to be able to do, open in a few different ways, keep their opponents off guard, and again, just sort of setting up from there and kind of going from there, basically. It's cool to see. Kind of aLive just doing a good job of kind of keeping his opponent on the rocks. Now we do see link speed on the way up. It's a very standard setup then from both players. I mean, we know the 2-1-1 inside and out recently. We've seen this build used in the matchup so many times, so that's not really much of a surprise to see it setting up here right now. We should know what's going on with that. Factory will finish Starport will build with a reactor, 60 Marines with Stim, and 2 medevacs to fly across the map in about a minute and 45 seconds time. From soO's side of things, well, he's once again going for the fast lair tech. Now, how does this match up against 2-1-1? But it can actually be kind of okay. The mutas can come out at a time where you'd expect, like, oh my god, the 2-1-1's just going to kill him because he's trying to build mutas right now. But, really? Is that really the case? It is a weird one. Like, I sort of think about it and it's like, I always feel as though when I go and when I see someone playing like mutas, or when I play myself and do 2-1-1 against fast mutas, I'm like, I should just kill him. But then he's just able to kind of come on in, he's just able to say, okay, well actually, you know, fly in and with the mutas and just target down the medevacs, that's quite nice. It actually turns out okay, because the faster mutalists really help you to turn around the medevacs in the sky, and they help you to stop the continued drops, which can be one of the main aspects of the build from the Terran player, to just, you know, attack and attack and attack. So yeah. Again, soO is our champion, or our winner from week 1 of the competition. If he won week number 2 as well, that'd be kind of crazy. You're already winning 2 of our events. It'd be really awesome. So I'm a big fan of soO, always have been. And it's kind of crazy to get him to be able to cast him, of course, in these sort of events, these sort of tournaments. And that's just the way StarCraft 2 is nowadays. We get to cast these great players in these online events. And that's the beauty of StarCraft 2. Like, these online events are so simple and easy to play, and it doesn't require your entire team. You know, you can put up a good prize pool for one person to take home quite easily. So they're very easy, you know, compared to a lot of other online esports which are team-based. I feel as though StarCraft 2 will always have a very strong online scene, because it's so easy to run these online events without needing a lot of money and stuff like that as well. So, let's see this Reaper turned away. Sees the medevacs here, so you will know what he's playing against. I mean, the mutas are about to pop out. Again, the mutas will help out with this fight. I mean, that's just straight up honestly how it goes. Again, it surprises me every single time. However, he doesn't build a third hatchery yet. He's really saving up his money to spend just on mutalisks. I guess if this attack wasn't coming in, he would have built the third hatch instead of the Zerglings, and then still get 7 or 8 mutalisks up as well. As these Marines from aLive just going to be building up in the center, gathering together. 3 more barracks on the way for him back at home. He has got a third CC coming down, so I mean, he's not going into like 5 racks 2 base aggression, but he's definitely going to be able to have that production rolling nice and quickly, as initially these Marines not doing too much. Picks off 1 tumor, trying to push forward. So he hasn't even dropped a scan to clean up any creep, which is kind of crazy. Just letting that sit back as however it wants to go for soO. I guess there isn't that much creep to clean, only these couple of tumors over here. Creep to the left side, I guess, is just up here on the third base, but it's not going to make much of a difference. We'll just see these units loading up, as actually now Lings and Mutas will give chase. Loading up, maybe not the best of ideas, as I guess it'll take a little while for the Mutas to catch up, and by then, maybe there's new reinforcements nearby or something. Grenade goes down, works out quite nicely. Actually, a full medevac is going to get targeted down here. It rolls. I mean, another boost comes in, but the Mutas taking down full medevac units there. aLive just backing away in such a weird manner. That didn't work out too well for him. Lings and Mutas going in towards the third base as well. Doesn't see too much there. Going to loop around and start heading in towards the main, but again, really quite see the opportunity to do much over there. So it does just back away. You can see that depot taking a lot of damage. Will actually end up falling here. Zergling is going to be sat out the front, but not moving forwards just yet. Instead, just going to be pulling back a little bit. Units will join up overhead, and together, those units will look to see what they can do, pushing on forwards. Finally, taking a little bit more damage once more, and again down to about half health. Marines coming over to the left-hand side. You know, we've seen the armor coming down from aLive too, but really feels as though again soO had a later third hatch, but he feels as though he's in control of the game once again. He's on his opponent's side of the map. He's coming in. He's trying to do a bit of damage here and there. He just gets out of range of those Widow Mines before he gets blown up. Just didn't manage to kill those off in time. But yeah, I mean, he's starting his 1-1 upgrades, Balin speed as well. And we've seen aLive now 2 games where he's been setting up into a macro position against the Lingbane Muta of soO. And guess what? It just has not gone very well for him at all. Time after time. It just does not go well for him. So I don't know what he does now. I don't know what he does now to try and fix this, to try and change things. He just needs better fights, which is hard to do when your opponent's just so good at taking fights. I do want to see a game 5, so I would love to see aLive win this game, but it's going to be so tough. You see Lings and Phoebes collecting together there. This drone is slowly pushing those Zerglings out of the way. A test of strength before you can make the 4th hatchery. And Zerglin really wanted to make sure that that drone knew that he would, make sure the drone was definitely strong enough, no matter what, before that hatchery, before he became a hatchery. Was he up to the challenges of being a hatchery? Well, in the end, yes, he was. So thank God for that. 2 upgrades on the way from our Terran player. Again, 2 base mutalisks means that you do generally give up your upgraded timing in the game a little bit. As you see, a couple of Widow Mines connected onto the mutas. The thing is, with only 2 Widow Mines, it's not so bad of a situation, because with 2 Widow Mines, you kill 2 mutas and you get the rest of them low, which is nice to harass, you know, to shut the mutas down for a little while, but it's not like you just kill off all of them. It's not like a complete disaster if a couple of Widow Mines go off. So you have to be a bit more careful about those, though. I mean, he's not flying around with an Overseer, so that's a bit of a scary feature of his gameplay right now, as we are going to be seeing those mutas join up top. Lings and Banes moving around a little bit and seeing where else they can go. Mutas moving around as well. So mutas, Lings and Banes all moving around over here. We'll be seeing those mutas from soon. We'll start coming down towards the lower right hand side and try and pick off a couple of these medevacs perhaps. And these Marines from aLive still around. I mean, it's again just aLive playing very defensively, and I guess he's just going to build up for one much larger attack than what he's been going for in the previous games. Just wait until 2-2, wait until he's sort of maxed out, and then just sort of go. He's going to have a set of upgrades in his favor. I mean, the disadvantage is that he's playing against a god like soO, right? Still, it's still going to be difficult. You can see a scan into the center. Cripple creep teamers going down to those Marines. Drilling claws on the way down from our Terran player as well, so that's going to increase the speed at which Widow Mines burrow. An upgrade which is actually surprisingly sort of useful, kind of. You know, it really is. Like with Widow Mines able to burrow a bit faster, you can take fights a little bit more kind of out, you know, a bit more quickly. Like, you know, you don't have to kind of preset into the engagement as much. Instead of kind of having your Widow Mines blown up by the Banes as they roll forwards and connect, they actually burrow and shoot the Banes instead. You know, so. It's a little bit interesting to see. Well, 5 bases for the Zerg players. This 5th base gets established to the left-hand side. Creep untouched as well. I mean, this is the problem. soO's moving around the map. He's keeping the map control, and that means that all the while, he's getting into a better position elsewhere. You know, he's just, you know, taking the opportunity to macro up to send, you know, spread his creep around and all the rest of it. Bit of a push from aLive moving forward here. He's got plenty of units back at home. Some Marines defending the 3rd base. Some units back here in the center of the bases as well. That means he doesn't have everything in this army right now, which means that if soO takes a larger fight, aLive could find himself in a lot of trouble very quickly. So he has to be cautious of that. Does not want to take a fight against the entirety of soO's army with only half of his own army or a small portion of his own army. Because that's how you lose a lot of units quickly, and that's how soO suddenly starts attacking and just overrunning, no problem at all. We just come forwards, picking off another Widow Mine. Marauders, Widow Mines. So moving up the left-hand side, and the force still mixed into this composition. A scan comes down, and a couple of creep tumors do fall. As here we go, Lings and Banes running on forwards, looking to see what they might be able to do. Not much though. This time the Terran army is collected together, and soO will not attack into this position. Hive on the way up for him. I mean, honestly, at this point, it's the Terran player that has to do something. You know, as Zerg is going into Hive, he's getting ready for his next set of upgrades. You know, it's, you know, going into Ultralisks and whatever. He's getting into his next stage of the game. Whereas our Terran players still sort of just sat on Marine, Marauder, Widow Mine, Medevac. You know, the 4 M's. He's just sat here waiting to see what's next, waiting to see what happens now. And he needs to start I mean, he can tech out of it himself. I mean, his advantage is going to start when these upgrades finish in the next 15 seconds or so. When that 3-3 finishes up, all of a sudden our Terran player finds himself in a position where he's able to trade a little bit better, and that might just help him out enough in these engagements to help him push through. So I have to feel that's what he's waiting for. I mean, he's maxed out now. He's got a bank, so does soO. You know, the thing is, the Zerg benefits more from the bank as well, because then the way they remax is they can spend all their money at once, whereas the Terran can only spend as much as their production facilities can hold. So it really is kind of getting to that time where aLive has to do something. Here we go, pushes up the right-hand side, left side, yeah, right-hand side. The Banes come in from the left, but it's an absolute massacre. That is not a fight soO wanted to take. The Widow Mine connections were huge. The Banelings just disappeared on the left-hand side of the flank. That was a disaster for soO. Remaxes on 116 Zerglings. So that wasn't good. I mean, he killed barely anything at all there. soO losing so much. Well, let's see what else he can do as we see him position around. He might lose the space here. That's not so bad. He has bases to the left-hand side he can use. Over here. And aLive will take down that base and just back away for now. soO also establishing a base top right. Can't believe those Banelings went into that fight. I mean, they just got destroyed by the Widow Mines, which were very well positioned. aLive still moving through the center, looking to see where he can go next. Pulling over to the left-hand side here just a little bit. As we're going to be seeing +2 vehicle plating coming down. And the Cloak Banshee, the Cloak Ghost actually coming into play as well. Cloak Banshee, of course not. Personal Cloaking coming in for Ghost now, as we see. Lingbane and Meter moving over to the left-hand side. Getting ready to defend from this new position. He needs to make sure he doesn't try and go in all from one angle at the same time once again like the last game. Or at least not sending everything in at once. So the Widow Mines go off on everything. Because that was also slightly disastrous. We see, well, here we go. Lings and Main's going to come on down. Few Bane's getting picked off as they move down this ramp. The soO this time is looking a lot better in the fight. Picks off multiple medevacs in the meantime as well. And aLive is going to get cleaned out of this position. Not just cleaned out, absolutely shut down. After a great fight before, now all of a sudden soO takes a huge fight, and aLive is going to be the one having to spend his bank. But again, we saw soO could instantly remax because of the fact he just had money and lava. A Terran player can't do that. He can again only build as much as his production structures hold. And so while he spent a lot of money, a lot of that is queued up Marines and so on, and they're not popping out instantly. They'll be here soon enough. But it's not instant like soO's remax. As we see now, Ultra's on the field as well. Chitinous playing has not finished actually. Is he even upgraded it? Oh, missing Chitinous. Well, that's a big deal of how many Ultras he's making. Chitinous is definitely something he would want here, so that's a big mistake. As we're going to be seeing these Meters, Lings, Banes, and Ultras still moving around. A couple of Widow Mines going off here and there, just trying to try and clean those out as best he can. A Terran player moving up to the 5 bases of his own right now. Seeing a big attack through the center here. So he's going to push on in. And again, these Ultras, they have the Chitinous playing upgrade. Oh, no, they don't. He's just completely missing it. That's a big deal. As we see anyways, pushing on through. Meters are doing a little bit more. I mean, soO just has so much now, and aLive doesn't have so much right now. He has basically nothing. It all comes down to that fight on the left-hand side where, initially soO took a really bad fight, remax, but then he took a really good fight. And his opponent has been trying to remax, but just can't quite get there. Feeling is going to surround that Marauder. It's going to go down. Ultra's coming in towards this third base. It looks as though soO might, after 2 WardiTV Weeklies, become our 2-time champion, because at this point, he's on the verge of winning today's about $90 first place prize pool. Thanks to you guys who again donated through the Match Torino page. What am I going to go off? Ultra's for 2 going to go down. As he fights this blind forward, when I say go down, I mean go down in health a little bit. Widow Mines, the Widow Mines don't exactly tickle Ultras. They do a good chunk of damage, but when there's no support for the Widow Mines, doesn't really matter. This poor Ultra here was caught in the back and he gets blown to pieces before magically sinking through the floor here on Echo. Who would have known there's actually quicksand in this platform? Fortunately, the Marines and Marauders are moving fast enough to just get through it without dipping down. But don't stop, guys. You might sink like the Ultra's corpse. That or it's just biodegradable. Which is convenient, right? Biodegradable units. Means it's so that you don't have to clean up so much after the maps have been used. It's nice, convenient. Anyways, Widow Mine coming in here. Going to be seeing the shot coming off once again. I mean, Ultra's just pushing through, really. And it's going to be soO engaging into the Terran player to just shut down and win this game. At least that's what he's aiming for. I mean, Marines and Marauders are pulling on back. The meters are flying through. He's going to back away as these units get up the ramp. He's still missing Chitinous playing. And these Ultras still are nowhere near as tanky as they should be. And there's another stim coming in. These Marines and Marauders get very low once again. Probably why the Mutants want to chase, because they feel as though they can pick up the Marines, which he should be able to very quickly now. He's going to be able to pick off the rest no matter what. You can see Widow Mine's going up onto the Dario army as well as he chases a couple of Zerglings. More Lings and another Ultras coming in here. Muta's still fighting. There's a few more reinforcements from aLive. He's actually going to be able to keep himself alive here for a few moments longer once again. We're now down to 70, 80 supply. It isn't pretty. And while he cleans up the majority of the Mutalists, he cleans up the Ultralists. How does he continue to deal with the follow-up attacks? I mean, soO's got the top right base established, this base, the 4th back up and running, the 5th base is going. That makes this the 7th base of soO down to the bottom left corner. And aLive, I mean, he scans that upper right base, sees it's there, realizes he has to do something about this. He's on 4 bases of his own. His 5th base got killed off before, going to try and land an orbital over here. Going to try and drop a little bit to the left-hand side too. Just going to drop around in general, see what he can do. He's going to find this base now to the bottom left as well. And aLive is going to start realizing that soO is in a very, very good position here. Drops do come down. They do a little bit of damage. 5 workers killed, and, well, I mean, the hatcheries are definitely taking some damage here, no doubt about that. Medevac loading back up once again. Heading up towards the top right-hand side of the map. As you see, this bottom half hatchery does get killed off. We as well find the medevac to the top right. We'll clean that out as well, though. So, again, aLive in a very difficult position to play forwards from. What does he do now? I don't know what he does to kind of come back in this. He had that great set of Widowmine hits against the Banelings earlier, and that was like the first engagement we really saw this game. And it looked as though aLive just took a huge lead from that. He was like 200 supply against 130. And then soO just said, well, okay, time for me to take a really good fight. And that was just way too much from that point on. We're going to see Medivacs being caught by Mutalisks once again, trying to unload, but the units just get jumped on top of by these Zerglings right away. I mean, there's just no units anymore. This orbital command's about to burn down very shortly, if not get shot down by the Mutalisks. Few Widowmine is not connected to anything at all. And that is GG. soO is going to take it 3 games to 1. He is the victor here in today's WardiTV Weekly number 2.